Hi there and welcome along to another workout for you to row along to. I've snatched a moment outside. I was all set up in the studio, walked outside and saw this is what it's like, and I'm like, nope, I'm doing it outside. Anyway, what we're doing today is going to be one of the harder sessions. This is going to be one of the proper kind of top intensity, but it's not going to sound like it. Because what we're going to do is 3 12-minute intervals with 3 minutes rest in between. Now we're going to do the first 8 minutes of each of those intervals at 20 strokes a minute and at 2k plus 18 pace. It's lovely, a walk in the park. But in the last 4 minutes of those intervals, we're going to suddenly ramp up to 28 strokes per minute, and we're going to do it at 2k plus 5 pace, basically your 5k pace for those last 4 minutes. So what this is doing is it's exposing you to that real hard end of a workout on a 6k or a half hour or a 10k, where it's starting to get really kind of tough, but you need to hold your pace in order to get to the end. So as such, this is part of the 10k plan. This is week 2 session 3. This is the toughest workout of the week, and you will see that this is going to pop up a few more times throughout the plan, but you don't have to be doing the 10k plan for this to be of benefit. Don't worry about it. It's still a fantastic standalone workout. All right, so let's get into our 4-minute warm-up, and as always we start off by setting up the machine. Now go to your drag factor first. On a concept 2, that's a lever on the side of the machine. Go to main menu, display drag factor, and set it where you want it to be. If you're not in a concept 2 and you have like just a resistance setting, just set it so you get a good resistance from the machine, but it doesn't really feel like you're having to heave against the stroke, okay? Because that's important for your body. Next up, if you can, set your monitor to eye height so you're not looking up, not looking down. And finally, if you're able to adjust your foot straps, get it to a point where you're able to kind of hinge forwards comfortably at the front of the machine with your shins pointing vertically, all right? Usually that means that the strap covers the ball of your feet, or the bottom lace of your shoe, is what I was about to say. Anyway, 4-minute warm-up. We're just going to start at 18 strokes a minute, and your power is really just going to be as though you're doing a bodyweight squat, because we're going to start off by just working on our timing, okay? Here we go then in 3, 2, 1. And by timing, what I mean is that feel between your feet pressing into the machine. So remember, this stroke, the power comes from the legs first. So you're pushing into the machine, and what you want to do is get the timing right, that as you push into the machine, that's when you pick up the handle. And by pick up the handle, what I mean is the point when the handle connects to whatever it is that your machine is based on, whether it's a flywheel like the Concept 2, or whether it's a magnet or a water wheel. The point is you want your foot press to happen at exactly the same time the handle picks up the power generator, whatever you have. And once you've got that timing sorted, you can then start to think about adding more pressure in from your feet in order to increase your pace. And if you have a 2k training pace, we're looking around about 2k plus 20 by now. And by 2k training pace, what I mean is you do a 2 kilometer time trial, divide the result by 4, and that time is your average time to cover 500 meters. Hopefully your rowing machine has a display which shows you your current pace to cover 500 meters, and that is your 2k training pace. So if your 2k's 8 minutes, your average is 2 minutes. When I say 2k plus 20, you row at 2:20. Sorry, that was very quick, because in one more stroke we're going to put one foot on the floor, carry on rowing. If you want a less rushed description of 2k training pace, it's actually in the description to this video, or on the podcast if you're listening, it's in the description to the podcast. But hopefully you know about 2k training paces before starting this video. One more. Swap feet. Carry on rowing with the other leg in. And do really think about continuing that push from the leg that's in. The benefit of this part of the stroke is it helps you with the compression because you don't have 2 legs strapped in, but it also gives you a chance to really think about whether you've got any imbalances between one side to another that feels less comfortable. Okay, both feet in, legs straight, just row with your back and arms. So swing over your back, pull in your arms, push out your arms, swing over your back. And this power generation from the hip swing is something that loads of people miss in their rowing stroke. So it's really important that you practice this idea of getting the flywheel moving without your legs, just using your back. Okay, opposite end of this, arms straight, roll to the front, press out your legs. Now here, you're continuing to work on the timing of your foot press and picking up the handle, but you're also making sure to hold these straight arms and the forward lean as you do it. So you don't need to press too hard with the legs. This is all just about timing and position. 2 more, 1 more, and we're all done. So this is done for the warm up. Keep moving up and down the rail, have a quick drink, and I'll explain one more time what today's session is. Okay then, so today's session is going to be 3 times 12 minutes with 3 minutes rest in between. And we're going to split up those 12-minute intervals as the first 8 minutes at 20 strokes a minute and 2k plus 18 pace, and then the next 4 minutes at 28 strokes a minute and 2k plus 5 pace, which is round about your 5k pace. Now, as far as programming your monitor is concerned, well, I'm doing this with ErgZone today, and what I've done is I've programmed just around about your 5k pace. Now, as far as programming your monitor is concerned, well, today I'm doing it through ErgZone, and I've set it into these individual chunks. So I've got an 8-minute interval, 0 rest, 4-minute interval, then 3 minutes rest, and then again. Downside to that is there may be a tiny delay between you and I for how we tick over through our intervals, but it shouldn't be too bad a delay, and it all should be okay in the end. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, all right? So have one last drink. There you go. Get yourself strapped in, and remember, we're starting off at a nice, beautiful, gentle 20 strokes a minute, 2k plus 18 pace, all right? So here we go then in 3, 2, 1, and we're off. This is quite a handy workout anyway, because it gives you that chance to work on your 20 strokes a minute technique and get it drilled in. But then you've got the added juice of the 28 strokes a minute sprint. You'll see I mix it up quite a lot like this, where I'll tend to bounce between 20 and 28 in a few of my sessions, because both of them have so much value. And really, these 20 strokes a minute are the bread and butter parts of all your rowing foundation that will build your fitness, give you a chance to work on your technique, burn some calories, and really grind in how you're meant to be rowing. These sessions you grow to love. Kind of when I'm just thinking, I don't know what to do today, pretty much my default will always be to come back to a 30-minute at 20 strokes a minute, because it's so valuable. And you have to look at sessions like this and fall in love with them. You want to see this and think, oh man, that's going to be fun. Mixing up the 2 rates and paces. This is going to be hard work, but the end result is going to be amazing. You got to love the tough stuff, but to be honest, you got to love the easier stuff too. Oh, getting to that point in the season when various plants are dropping their seeds. So there's these strange little white seeds flying around. They keep on blowing into my face. Okay, so we're closing in on the first 3 minutes done here. Let's just briefly mention technique in time for ticking over into the next stage, which isn't going to happen for another 5 minutes, but best to spend a little bit of time adjusting your technique if you need to. So remember, like I was saying in the warm-up, your power generation comes from your legs. So as you come into the machine, you push with your legs, and that's where 60% of the power from your stroke comes. But obviously, just pushing with your legs isn't going to do anything. So you need to make sure that that power gets into the handle, and that you also use your arms and your back to add power rather than to fight against the power that's being generated from your legs, which is really easy to do. If you grab early on the handle, then you're kind of diffusing, no, that's not the right word, working against, let's say, can't think of the right word, that leg power. You're not letting it flow through your body and into the machine. So as you push, you need to make sure that you have straight arms and your body is tilted over your hips in a forward lean, or I prefer tilt. Actually, John, come on, say tilt. And that way, when you hold your arms straight and that forward tilt, and you push your legs into the machine, the power from your legs travels up through your body into your arms in a beautiful power conduit that's uninterrupted by an early arm pull, or if your back was already pointing backwards, suddenly that power all goes through your lower back and gets interrupted on its way to the machine. So forward lean, arm straight, push. Gotta have a good posture as well. So this is why I say tilt over the hips rather than lean, because a lean can make you think that you're doing this, where you're just leaning by caving your back. It's not the point. You want to be up on those cheeky sit bones with a powerful posture and a braced core as you push out the front. And that also comes into play with how far forward you slide. Remember I said when we were setting up the machine about your shins pointing to vertical. Well, that's why. That's the gauge of how far forwards you should slide on the seat. And then you push. And ideally, you roll in and instantly push back. You don't want to pause at the front. Okay, 6 more strokes, and then we're gonna do our first rise. Get ready for this. 28 strokes a minute, 2K plus 5 pace. One more. Alrighty, here we go. Really feel that extra force that you need to push into the machine in order to increase your stroke rate. Okay? So you want a faster drive phase, which comes from more of a push from the legs, and then by getting the handle away from you again, nice and quick, but in the same rhythm you brought it in at, that will start a quicker recovery, ready for the next stroke. So stroke rate comes from both ends, and you should notice that the extra push that you have to do for the drive in order to get your stroke rate up should pretty much, oh, got tanked by a bee. That push should result in your pace increase. So remember, I'm talking here about legs being the controlling factor when it comes to both stroke rate and power. In fact, the only part where you should be concentrating on arms is your recovery, where you want it to be nice and smooth. Get the handle away at the same speed you finished at 1 minute ago, over your knees, which then triggers your rock back over your hips. And once your hands are past your knees and you're in that forward tilt, that's when you finally bend your knees to effortlessly slide to the front of the machine. 10 seconds to go. Come on. One more stroke. Right, the 3 minutes rest, so don't worry if your heart rate is up. Make sure and have a drink. Maybe rock up and down the rail a little bit while you're having a drink. Whew. For rests this long, it does bring up the question of, should you do some light rowing I know some people do like it, just to do, once they feel recovered, just pick up the handle and do just some light strokes, keep the muscles working. Personally, I'm more of a dead stop kind of guy. I prefer just to rock up and down like this. Whee! I feel any light rowing is taking away, especially in a session like this where we have a low rate effort to start anyway, then any light rowing is just taking away energy that I need for the main session. But you do what you wish. There's always the option that with kind of 20 seconds to go, you pick up the handle, start the flywheel moving, especially if you're a little bit worried about your back and that first stroke of an interval, that first kind of one where you're getting the flywheel started from a dead stop. If you have any lower back issues, if you can protect yourself against that first stroke, then it's a good idea to. I mean, obviously, the very first stroke of the very first interval in a session is from a stop flywheel, so you have to be a bit careful with that. But as you get into intervals, like I say, with 20 seconds to go, you can just do some light, very easy rowing to get the flywheel moving, so that then you hit the ground running on that first stroke. It's your choice. That does kind of mess up coming back and comparing intervals slightly, because you'll be starting this from a moving flywheel, whereas the first one you weren't starting from a moving flywheel. But I think a lot of these sessions, as far as I'm concerned, the post analysis isn't what it's about. It's actually about stroke to stroke, seeing what's on the monitor in front of you and being content and happy that for most of the interval you have seen your 2k plus 18 or your 2k plus 5. I don't often come back and look at my stroke data. I'll maybe look at my heart rate data, but not my stroke rate. Okay, 15 seconds to go. Maybe wiggle your backside, make sure you're not sitting on the same sit bones across the same part of your glutes. And we're going in 7 seconds time. Remember, it's 20 strokes a minute, 2k plus 18 again. In 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So back to one stroke every 3 seconds. And just think about what I was, sorry, lost the ability to speak there. I just went, think about the body positions and sequencing that I've talked about so far. So arms straight, forward tilt, shins to vertical, up on your sit bones, and then push the machine away and try to reduce any pause as you come into the front. I really notice a difference between when I'm being lazy and pausing, or when I shoot straight, boom, trying to reduce the amount of time I'm holding at the front. If you do pause at the front and you just can't get round it, then as you come in, just think about keeping the tension here. Because as you come forwards, your legs kind of coil up, compress like a spring. And what they want to do is uncoil, which results in this butt scoot, because that springiness sends your backside scooting backwards. So if you are pausing at the front, really do think about holding that tension, that compression, before you push back with the legs. That said, it's much better to recover a little bit slower into the front and turn it around with hardly any pause. If only from looking at it, you spend longer recovering. That's literally longer recovering every stroke. Versus trying to hold that compression at the front, which tires your muscles. And there will be like a tenth of a second where you're likely to be holding your breath whilst you hold that compression. Whilst? I'm sorry, am I a Victorian person on the train? Whilst I sit on this train, we shall travel somewhere. That was more like Terence and Philip. There's another pop culture reference from the 90s. Although South Park is still going, but it's not quite the global dominance it had in the 90s. So you'll probably by now have worked out the value of this session. Certainly through the 4 minutes at the end of the last interval, you should have gone, all right. So what we're doing is we're turning a 6K or a 30-minute or a 10K into a little microcosm row 3 times. So if you look at a 30-minute row, it's like we're doing the first 25 minutes at cruising pace, and then the last 5 minutes we're ramping it up. Or in a 10K, the first 8K at cruising pace, and then the last 2 getting faster. Now ideally, if I was trying to make it feel like them, it would be a gradual increase. But that gradual increase is what you get from the 40-minute push pace workout that we've already done in week 1, and we are likely to do again. I concentrate on that timing. There's more to me than you about turning it around. It's a big thing I'm trying to get right, is removing that pause at the front, because it makes such a difference in my split times. I mean, I'm now going too fast because I'm getting the timing right. So it shows just how much wasted energy I'm putting in to row with that pause and manage 2K plus 18. If I just reduced that pause, I wouldn't have to put in quite as much muscle power in order to hit my pace. And after all, we think a lot of the sessions we do are power for extended periods of time. Anything that can help that is a real bonus. Okay, 9 strokes to go. Then we're going to boost
up to 28 strokes a minute, and 2K plus 5 again. Remember, your legs control this. All right, 3, 2, 1, and we're off. So remember, all the position things are still the same. Forward lean, straight arms, up in your sit bones, shins vertical, and then try not to pause at the front. And notice how slight blips in your stroke rate can result in a second here or there pace difference. Come on. Keep finding myself missing that connection at the front. I don't think I'm getting my arms away and forward tilt position quite right, which means I'm still leaning in as I address the front of the machine, and that is also causing my butt to scoot backwards. All right, halfway there, come on. Make sure to get the power from your legs. Hold those straight arms and your forward tilt in order to get that power through, and then top it off with your back and arms. Don't waste your back and arms by using them too soon. As you push with the legs, ideally you should feel your backside go just a little bit lighter on the seat. Not so much that you're taking off, but just enough to know the power from your legs is making you hang off the handle. Okay, 20 seconds to go. Keep strong, not long to go. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Well done. One more to go. Take a moment to catch your breath if you need to. There's other things to do with this workout. You can go longer, so like 9 minutes and 6 minutes. You can obviously go faster, and you can do more intervals. You can do more intervals of the same, or reduce the time and do more intervals. But then you have to shorten the rest. But don't worry, if you're doing the 10K plan, you'll see subtle changes to this workout as we move on. Remember, the first week is really about getting you going. Second week we start to just add in a little bit more duration on the longer rows, a little bit more intensity. But if you weigh this session up with the 40 push pace, they should overall feel around about the same. So remember, the 40 push pace, you started off really slow, and it was only really maybe the last 12 minutes, 14 minutes where you really start to push. Whereas this one, you hit that hill 3 times in a row. You know what I'm saying, I don't need to waffle. Have a drink. Oh, I'm really hoping that we continue with the sun in this. Someone obviously thinks it's sunny enough to get the lawnmower out, so, which frankly I need to do. We had like 3 or 4 weeks of blistering sun, and because of it the grass hardly grew, and then we had a couple of days of soaking wet rain, and then the grass went, oh yeah, water, and grew again. So I need to get the old lawnmower out, do the dad job. Not saying that women can't mow lawns, it's just it's historically in my house is what I do. Mostly because I get to escape the kids. No, I get to stick on my headphones, walk up and down the lawn for half an hour, listen to music or a podcast or something, think about what I'm having for dinner that night. It's a Tuesday today, no spag bol. I think it's going to be a nice veggie based dinner tonight, I think. Not made my mind up yet. All right, 10 seconds to go. Make sure and wiggle your backside, get comfortable. Go back to 20 strokes a minute, 2K plus 18 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh. Just realised I forgot my sunglasses. So you're having to put up with me squinting. Although I'm in socks today, so you're not having to put up with my feet. So hey, swings and roundabouts. I do enjoy rowing in socks and bare feet. And just in case you wondered, there's 2 reasons behind it. First one is I feel I get a better connection with the foot plate because I can feel it through my feet better than if I was in a pair of Converse All-Stars or something. But also it means I don't have to take like a special pair of rowing shoes that I feel I row best in if I'm going to the gym or if I'm going to races. And trust me, if you're trying to pack light, then not needing to take a pair of gym trainers or specific rowing shoes saves a lot of weight. Plus, if you look for the video of Josh Dunkley Smith breaking the 2K world record on a rowing machine, you'll see he does it in bare feet. So even if that's the closest I can get to being like him, it's fine by me. And actually, apart from the first, say, 5 or 6 sessions where the foot strap did dig in a bit, and my heels did feel a little bit uncomfortable. After, say, about total of about 3 hours worth of rowing, that all went away. Although I do find that my left pinky toe does get a wee blister on it if I'm in bare feet, which shows that I'm, as much as I say not to, I'm pulling very slightly on the foot strap still. Because remember, the point, especially at these low rates, is that you don't need to stop yourself at the back of the stroke by yanking on the foot strap. You should get your legs down, feet still connected, and then finish with your back and arms. And you shouldn't have to flick your feet up. That's all if you've got good sequencing and a powerful posture at the back of the machine. Your core soaks up that last bit of inevitable inertia of your arms coming into a finish. So if you can avoid tugging on the foot straps, that's really where you get a fantastic core workout from rowing, like here. But the other thing is that you really don't want to be tugging yourself forwards with the foot straps. Remember I said handle away, rock. That's how you move back up the rail to the front of the machine. Not by tugging on the foot straps. And the main reason for that is posture. If you tug, your knees pop up, your hips roll backwards, your tailbone tucks underneath you, and you're then nowhere near powerfully set up for the next stroke. You suddenly have to go, oh, hey, oh, this weird lumpy move to get in the right position. And got to say, most of the people who tug themselves forwards with the foot straps don't even bother trying to get themselves in the right position. They kind of tend up like this, leaning back the whole time. And like we said, this is bad from a power point of view. But it's even worse from an injury point of view, because you're suddenly putting all of the force from your legs through your lower back instead of up through your body and the posterior chain and then into your arms. Right, just under 50 seconds to go on this final 8-minute chunk. Remember, look forward to this 4 minutes coming up. Embrace it. If you want to, try and go faster. and 2K plus 5. Maybe start off 2K plus 5, but then increase by 2 seconds every minute if you want to test. Okay, 2 more strokes. Here we go, 28s, 2K plus 5. Remember, really get that power out from your legs. Not only to make sure you are increasing your stroke rate, but also to make sure you're hitting the pace. You shouldn't need to really drop off your pace. As much as this is the top workout of the week, we're not at maximum leave you on the floor intensity yet, because right now we're still just building your ability to row 10K. We're not really thinking performance yet. And for some of you, just being able to row 10K will be the main reason you even started this plan. So this is why it's still in a build-up phase, and why I've given you the option to sprint home if you wish. $1:45 to go. Keep on pushing with the legs. Get those hands away into position before you get to the front. That inertia, momentum of the hands away and forward tilt should really help with your stroke rate. Okay, 1 minute, 28 strokes to go. Count them down if you wish, but carry on exploding out of the front. Get the timing right. Arms straight, braced, core up on your sit bones. Finish strong. Come on, 20 seconds. Push with the legs, push the machine away. See the blue fireball brighten as you push. 2 more. 1 more. That's a good workout. Looking forward to coming back and doing that in a slightly different format, because this feeling is what you need to train into yourself, of working hard, being pushed, but holding on in order to get to the end. The thought may have occurred to you that you couldn't get to the end, but hopefully, because it was only 4 minutes and you knew you had 3 minutes rest the first 2 times round, you were okay to carry on pushing, because that's what you're going to feel at round about the 7 or 8k point in a 10k or half hour. Half hour would be around about 6 or 7 if you're going hard. That's when it starts to be like, whew, I'm having to hold on here. So that's why I say you have to love a session like that, because it really does define how you respond to the tough stuff. Like I say, you gotta love the tough stuff. Okay, 2-minute cooldown, it's quite important, this one. 18 strokes a minute, around about 2k plus 30 pace. If you're looking at an effort out of 10, probably about 5 out of 10, okay? 4 or 5 out of 10. In 3, 2, 1, go. And use this cooldown to reset your stroke. There's a good chance that you fell apart stroke-wise at the end of that, as fatigue set in, or as you were reaching to try and go faster. Maybe you started really lunging into the front and then yanking out, which is okay for the last 100 meters or so of a race on a rowing machine, but it's certainly not good in a boat. And it's also not how you want your lasting memory of how to row. So use this cool down to slow everything down, work on the timing again, push and connect at the same time, push, connect, and then turn it around. Don't hold a pause at the front, just instantly turn it around, and then think about holding that forward lean and your arms straight, turn it around. The danger is, as you turn it around, you'll find a lot of people, turn it around, will just go, turn it around, look to the sky. So you have to keep that 1 o'clock forward lean, or 11 o'clock as you're looking at me today, in my outside position with my shaggy grass, but not shaggy hair. I'm still, hang on, that's me at the end of my 2 minutes. Take this time to stretch, continue cooling down if you wish, but stretch or pack up or whatever. Just make sure you slide into neutral, don't just stop and go somewhere else. Finish watching the video is all I'm saying. Yeah, started through the whole nothing being open thing. Obviously, well, I say obviously, but if you've seen enough of my videos, you've seen when I was cutting my hair and I shaved a stripe into the top of my head. Bizarrely, I've carried on cutting my own hair. You would have thought I'd have learned, but it's not too bad, is it? I think I get it a bit too long on top and it's a bit too short at the sides comparatively, but it'll do. Anyway, enough about me. How's your hair? I'm going to do the Mr. Rogers thing and just listen to you for a while while you tell me what your hair's like. Why, is that right? Well, I hope you're happy with your hair. I did like that for the Tom Hanks film, the Mr. Rogers one. Be kind, be kind, be kind. If there's ever a... I think I'm a hippie at heart, really. I think between how I feel about just being kind and giving stuff away, knowledge and whatever, like look at this, look at the RowAlong thing. I don't charge for this. I've got hundreds of workouts up here, not charged for one of them, because why should I? I'm going to share my knowledge with you folks. I'm not going to get into it. But yeah, I'm not going to get into it. Why do I do it then? I do it because it helps me recover, because I've still got this weird collarbone muscle injury. There is an altruism side to it where I just want to help people. And I guess there's a profile thing where I kind of like the fact that I've got over 6,000 subscribers and stuff like that. I think, oh, over 6,000 people have decided to hit subscribe. What I'm looking forward to be honest, is when everything opens up again and we go back into live races. I'm kind of this part of me that's really looking forward to going to a live race and seeing if anybody recognises me. I know that's really narcissistic, but it'd just be really interesting if someone comes up and says, "Are you the RowAlong guy?" Like, not one of my friends. Obviously, hopefully my friends will still recognise me, even with the silly haircuts. But I mean, like, some complete random just comes up and says, "Hey, you John, the RowAlong guy?" And I'll go, "Oh, no, that's not me. I'm Shane." No, I'm not topless. Can't be Shane. Anyway, I think that's probably a good point for me to stop, don't you? Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for doing this one. If you're doing it as part of the 10K plan, I do hope that you enjoyed it. See, there's another one of them, the little white things floating around. Hope you enjoyed it. If you just did it as a standalone, I hope you really enjoyed it too. Let me know how you got on. Did you sprint at the end, all that stuff? Leave me a comment on the YouTube channel. Make sure and click like, click subscribe, click the little bell icon, and that's how you then find out when I've uploaded more. Yeah, and just kind of get in touch and say hello, because I like to hear from everyone, and I do reply eventually to every single comment I get. Just right now work gets in the way, so I'm tending to kind of do them all at the end of the week, so sorry about that. Right, I'm gonna go. You all right? Do you mind if I go? Cool, okay. You have a good day. I will see you in the next session. Do take care of yourself. Be well, stay safe. Bye-bye.